Hi everyone, welcome to part 1 of the tutorial on classical gas in the version of Tommy Emmanuel. This is the first tutorial I'm doing since I had to take down the on-screen tablature, so it will look a little bit different. If you are looking for the tablature, then click the music notes link down below. Just to be clear, the tab and notation file goes along with this lesson and is not a note-for-note transcription of one of Tommy's versions. Half of the tutorial will be released on YouTube for free. For full access and loads of extra help, you can check out my Patreon page. I'm going to keep this short since all of you are probably very eager to get to work. Despite coming in second place in the last poll right after Deep River Blues, it seems that Classical Gas is Tommy's most popular tune. His YouTube studio/live version has racked up more than 20 million views, so I decided to base my transcription and the lesson mostly on that video. In this first part, we take a look at the intro lick and the free time intro part. If you are not into those 20 notes a second licks, the intro lick is entirely optional and Tommy often leaves it out when playing live too. In the free time section, make sure to pay extra attention to the fingerings of each chord, since most of this will be repeated in the verse. If you get it right now, the next part won't give you any problems. Alright, let's go! So let's get to work. The guitar is a standard tuning and all you need is a thumb pick. I'm going to play through that first blazing lick that Tommy uses to open the video with, already just a little bit slower than Tommy does it, and then I'm going to try and explain the mechanics behind it as best as I can. Now, here we go. Maybe a little bit slower. Now, it's super fast. I still struggle to play it at the same speed as Tommy does, but the mechanics behind the lick aren't that difficult to comprehend. We start out with the ring finger on the 8th fret, sliding down to the 7th fret, pulling off to the index finger on the 5th fret, and then pulling off to the open E string. These are all 16th notes, the whole lick, by the way. So we get 1 and 2. Second beat starts with the ring finger on the 8th fret on the B string. You start out by picking the first string with the thumb pick. Sorry, not the first string, but the E string. And as you switch to the B string, you shift the thumb pick to the B string as well. Then you will have to re-pick the 5th fret on the high E string and pull off again to the open string. You do this by plucking the E string with the index finger. In this lick, each time you move with the thumb pick to a thicker string, you won't be switching back up. Every string you have to go back up will be picked with the index finger. So thumb pick, index finger, and then again pulling off to the open string. Thumb pick, index finger, pull off, and back to the thumb pick on, again, the 8th fret on the B string. And from that point on, it's basically going to be A minor pentatonic, 8th fret with the ring finger, 5th fret with the index finger, 7th fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, 5th fret. Just going down the B string, G string, D string. All the time using the same trick. You're going to play the thumb pick, pull off, then pull off again to the open string, then switch with the thumb pick to the next string. In this case, we're going to move from the B string, 8th fret, pull off to the 5th fret, pull off to the open string, to the 7th fret on the G string, and you will always have to switch straight away back up to the previous string, and you do this by picking with the index finger. So we're going to go 8th fret on the B string, pull off to the 5th fret, pull off to the open string, to the G string, 7th fret with the thumb pick, and then again plucking with the index finger on the 5th fret on the B string, and back to the open string. And then we're going to apply that exact same trick to the G string. Back to the 7th fret, pulling off to the 5th fret, pulling off to the open string, switching to the D string, following along with the thumb pick, and again back to the G string, plucking with the index finger, 5th fret, to an open string again. Let me play the lick up to that point. And again on the D string, 7th fret to the 5th fret to the open D string. And then I think Tommy, some sort of muscle memory kicks in, and I think he actually plays a tiny little mistake, finally proving that he's part human at least. And it seems to me as if his ring finger is going for the 7th fret on the A string, and it actually doesn't sound, if you slow it down, it doesn't sound as if that was intentional. I think he was meant to play the pull-off at the 7th fret on the D string to the 5th fret to the open string, and then use that split second of that open D string to travel with the ring finger to the 3rd fret on the A string. So. And then to finish off the lick, index finger. So again, you shift with the thumb pick to the low E string. Immediately, index finger plucks the D string. 1st fret, pulling off to the open string, thumb pick on the A string. 3rd fret, pulling off to the open string, and then thumb pick on the low open E string, and for the first time, hammering on to the 3rd fret. This is where the lick ends. So that last part, that's the last part. So in terms of timing, you get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's the timing of the last part. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's where you end the lick. The full lick all the way through using, I'm leaving out that really quick slide from the 7th fret on the A string to the 3rd fret. If you really want to add that in, then don't travel to the C note using that open D string, but stay here and try to get the slide in like that. But I really think it doesn't sound intentional at all. So I think it was supposed to be an open string, then switching to the 3rd fret. Not trying to prove that I know better than Tommy, but it just makes a lot more sense in terms of mechanics, especially at this tempo. The full lick. Let me count along one time. Everything is 16th notes, but in the middle of the lick there's a little bit of timing displacement going on, and it might be hard to stick to that exact rhythm. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's the full lick. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's the full lick in terms of timing. One more time while spelling out the picking pattern using thumb or index finger. Thumb, thumb, index, thumb. Thumb, index, thumb, thumb, index, thumb, thumb, index, thumb, thumb. So the only part where you actually have to use the thumb pick 2 times in a row, more or less quickly, is all the way at the end on that A and E string. That is all. Now let me play that lick one more time, just a little bit more up to speed so you can get a feel of what it sounds like once everything starts blending together. So nowhere Tommy's lightning speed, but just a little bit quicker. So, and that is the speed around which you can really feel those open strings and everything start to come together. Really cool lick. And once you really get it going, all those things really start coming together. And especially once you get past the part with the slide, which I think is actually the hardest part, is getting that slide to be timed out exactly right. Once you get to the B string and you can really get that mechanical pattern to move across those strings, you can really get blazing before you know it. It's not an easy lick, but it isn't as hard as it sounds either. So one more time, really slowly. Then on to the rest of the intro. The intro is basically the same thing as more or less the verse, but played in a free time manner, making it a little bit easier, and you sort of get to choose your own tempo. Let me just play through it one time, a little bit below Tommy's original concert speed. Let's have a quick look. We're starting out with an A minor chord, but you're leaving out the index finger on the B string. So you're playing open A string, middle finger, 2nd fret on the D string, ring finger, 2nd fret on the G string, and an open B string. Adding in the index finger on the 1st fret, and then adding in the pinky on the 3rd fret, again on the B string. Then pulling off with the pinky again to the 1st fret, and the index finger pulls off to an open string. Everything up to that point was 8th notes. That pull-off lick is going to be 16th notes. To the open string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rounding out the bar with, again, the 2nd fret, the A note on the G string. And then open B string together with the low E 3rd fret. Then open D string, open G string, going for the middle finger, 2nd fret on the low E string. And again, open D string, open G string, moving to an open low E string, and then you're switching to the 2nd fret on the D string. And again, an open G string. So and on that last G note, you're taking a sort of a pause for dramatic effect. You're ending up in a bar more or less of 5 quarter notes instead of 4 quarter notes, but because of the free time nature, that doesn't become too apparent or doesn't mess with your sense of timing too much. So you'll be taking a rest on that last G note before continuing. Those first 2 bars. Make sure that low E note keeps ringing out into the next bar. We're going to play a melody again, and this will be again sort of centered around an A minor chord shape. So you're ending up with that low E note and that G string, you paused, and then a really quick pull off from the 1st fret on the B string to the open B string. Just one of those really typical Tommy Emmanuel embellishments, really quickly, adding in the ring finger on the 2nd fret on the G string, to the open G string, and back to the second fret. In some versions, Tommy likes to play this with a pull-off and then back. On some other versions, he just picks every note. Pause. Another E bass note, then an open B string, and the second fret on the G string once more. You're rounding out the bar by pulling forward the bass note of the next bar by 1/8 note, which is an open A string. Take that pause and then to that low A bass note, 5th string, just open, and then a pull-off lick centered around an A minor chord, open E string, then 1st fret on the B string, pulling off to an open B string, and you're still holding down the 2nd fret on the G string, playing in again, so giving you an A minor chord shape. The picking pattern is always the same: middle finger on the high E string, index finger on the B string, pulling off, and then thumb pick on the G string. Play this as quickly as you like. Tommy speeds up through this pull-off lick, but always take in mind, or always make sure that you keep that pull-off lick as even as possible. Don't speed up just on the pull-off. Every note should be as long as the next one. Even if you speed up, that pattern, that rolling feel is more thanks to the evenness of each and every note than it is to only the speed. So if you get all of those notes nice and even, that is what gives this lick that rolling character. If you speed up somewhere or you slow down somewhere, you will ruin the effect instantly. Let's have a look at those first 4 bars. And then you can play this 4 times, as I just did now. You can play it 6 times, you can play it 8 times. Just this is for dramatic effect. You don't have to stick to a certain number. Just play it as it feels right for you. Then on to the next part. So we're moving to the 5th fret. Little bar across 3 strings, G string, B string, and E string, adding in the ring finger on the 7th fret of the D string, and an open A bass note underneath. Tommy uses a sneaky little trick. He plays the bass note, and then he sort of strums a few of those lower chord tones, mostly on the D string and the G string, before plucking the melody note on the high E string with the middle finger. So that is the move. It's really subtle with him. I still have to get to grips with this, but it's bass note and then just a quick rake with the pick, and you end up with the middle finger on top in the picking pattern. Then adding in the pinky on the 7th fret, moving to the 8th fret, back to the 7th fret, and back to the 5th fret. If Tommy drops back to the 5th fret, he actually uses a slide and then a pull off. Moving the pinky to the 3rd fret to a G chord. And again, just arpeggiating all open strings, 3rd fret on top with the pinky on the high E string, middle finger down below 3rd fret on the low E string, and everything else is open strings. D string, G string, B string. Again, moving the middle finger down to the 2nd fret, and again just open strings, D string and G string, and then in front of the next beat, a big E minor chord. Let me play those 2 bars up to this point. Maybe let me count along. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, in front of the beat, and then adding in the melody. Again, Tommy gives himself a little bit of advantage, again, playing that E minor chord with just the middle finger. So he frets again the A string and the D string with one finger. I can do it in this part now if I pay special attention in getting this right. I still haven't gotten it down well enough to use it within the song, but it's perfectly possible to use a standard E minor chord as well. But then you'll see that the fingering for the melody becomes a little bit finicky, a lot going on in just a really small space. So you get that E minor chord, pinky on the 3rd fret on the B string, pulling off to the 1st fret on the B string, pulling off to an open string, then the pinky to the 2nd fret on the G string, pulling off to an open string, and back to the 2nd fret. 3, 4, 1. And you round out the bar with just an open B string. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then ending up on a partial A minor chord using only the index finger and the middle finger. And Tommy picks this thumb pick and middle finger, and then the thumb pick on the D string. And then from that point on, it's always going to be thumb pick, middle finger, and index finger for the 2nd note. So this is the chord sequence. You probably all know this. So just going all the way up, so the 1st chord is an A minor, partial A minor chord, index finger and middle finger, 1st fret on the B string, 2nd fret on the D string. Then going for a G chord with a B in the bass, so middle finger, 2nd fret on the A string, pinky, 3rd fret on the B string, and playing an open G string in between there. C chord. In this case, you're only playing 3rd fret on the A string together with an open E string. And in this particular version, Tommy plays the open G string as the arpeggiated note, but I've seen other versions where he picks the B string as well. So I don't think you really have to be that precise in this particular section. A minor, G over B, C, F, with the thumb over the side of the neck. In this case, you're only playing the 1st fret on the high E string, 2nd fret on the G string, and the 1st fret down below on the low E string. So if you want to, you can just as well play it with a bar. If the thumb over the side of the neck isn't your thing, you can just as well play it with a bar. With a bar. Then the next chord, depending on how you play that F chord. If you play the F chord with the thumb over the side of the neck, which would be thumb, little bar across 2 strings on the high E and B string, and then the middle finger on the 2nd fret on the G string, then you probably will switch the thumb to the 2nd fret and add in a D chord on top. Index finger, 2nd fret on the G string, the ring finger, 3rd fret on the B string, middle finger, 2nd fret on the high E string. So you'll probably play that. Using the thumb over the side of the neck. If you choose to play the F chord with a bar, then you just move that bar up to the 2nd fret and only add in the middle finger on the B string, 3rd fret. And you get this. Whatever option you choose, after that you go for a G chord, which is just a pinky, 3rd fret on top on the high E string, ring finger down below, 3rd fret on the E string as well. So just ring finger down below, 3rd fret, pinky on top with the 3rd fret. This was with the bar chord, one more time with the thumb. See, same thing, so going from the thumb over the side of the neck to the G chord. G chord is the exact same shape as when you use the bar chord, so I hope that difference is clear now. I'm going to stick to the thumb over the side of the neck to the G chord, and Tommy starts adding in some extra arpeggiated notes, moving to an E dominant chord, 2nd fret with the index finger on the D string, 4th fret with the ring finger on the G string, middle finger 3rd fret on the B string, pinky 4th fret on the high E string, which is basically a D dominant 7 shape, moved up 2 frets while moving up the bass note as well. So Tommy will lead this in now with the melody note each and every time. So melody note on the pinky, 2 arpeggiated notes, melody note again, moving up, and again first the pinky. And the exact same chord shape, just up 2 frets, again a diminished shape, giving you 6th fret, 7th fret, 6th fret, 7th fret. So. And in this last chord shape, Tommy extends the arpeggio and releases the pinky all the way at the end for an open E string. Basically just picking down all the way through the arpeggio, arpeggiating all the way down through the chord shape, releasing the pinky, open E string, and then back up through the chord shape, adding in an harmonic at the 7th fret on the low E string and the low A string, and then at the 12th fret on the B string and the E string. Let me play that full chord section going up the neck all the way through. Leave those harmonics ringing out, and Tommy adds in one last trick. Pinky and ring finger on the 2nd fret on the G string and the B string, sliding up all the way to the 9th fret. Back down to the 8th fret, 7th fret, 6th fret, and then the 5th fret. Low E bass note, and then Tommy adds in the G sharp on the 6th fret, basically giving you middle finger 6th fret on the D string, and then a little bar on the 5th fret across the G string and the B string, giving you an E altered or an E chord with a raised 5th to sort of really pull strongly towards that A minor chord, which we will use to start the verse with. So. And that is the end of the intro. Let me play those last, what was it, seven or 8 bars back to back, and then the whole intro. Here we go. So the last section we just looked at. And then you're off into the next section. The next section will be something for the next video. I'm going to play through the whole intro one more time, really, really slowly. Then I'm going to give you some time to get this into your fingers. So that was part 1 of the tutorial. Take some time to get those chords and inversions into your fingers. As soon as it starts to click, you can continue to the next part of the tutorial, in which I will cover the verse, the chorus, and the famous percussive part at the end of the chorus. See you there.